Good morning.
Good afternoon,
Good evening.
wherever you are.
Yeah, it all depends on where you are on this amazing planet of ours and what day you're actually listening to this, whether you're
Yes.
listening as it's released or in the archives. I'm Ariel.
I'm Shya.
Welcome to being here.
We're communally the Canes.
Take a breath.
Oh man, that's such an amazing opportunity to take a breath and just allow the air to come in and taste the air going through your mouth and nose. Ah,
I mean, just even that we're alive and breathing is pretty
that's right.
amazing.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's inspirational.
Yes, inspirational. No pun intended, or pun intended.
Ready?
Yes.
Let's listen to each other today. Makes things so simple.
You know, it amazes me how people, for the most part, don't listen. They're thinking and they're filtering out things that other people are saying to see what's important, that refers or relates to them, that they need to know to survive, but they don't really slow down enough to listen to what another is saying and hear what they're saying from their point of view without agreeing or disagreeing, but just to hear another's point of view. That's what listening is when you're really listening.
Listening really, really supports you in being here.
Well, it pulls you into the current moment of your life, not your thoughts about your life, but your actual experience of living in the current moment, which is where your life is taking place, by the way.
You know, it's so easy to get a forward momentum going or to get lost in repeating conversations with yourself about things that have just happened. And listening and taking a breath can just drop you right into being here. No fuss, no muss. It seems like it's almost too easy, too simple. It should be more complex, but it's not.
It shouldn't be more complex.
I know, but my mind wants things
Well,
to
your
be
mind
complex.
wants complexity. Our minds want complexity. Reality is a function of simplicity. You know, it's about being in the current moment of your life. But you see, the thing that distracts you from the current moment primarily are your thoughts about future or past moments. So if you can corral or get a bridle on that mind of yours that's constantly striving to go to the future or constantly striving to go back to the past to figure out what you did wrong back then, so you won't do it wrong in the future, except you always seem to do it over and over again. What if you could just relax and be okay being you, the way you are in the current moment of your life right now?
I like it.
That's starting point.
All right, let's go from that starting point
to our first guest.
Yes.
Okay.
Tanya, welcome to being here. Tell people where you're zooming in from.
Hi, guys. I am zooming in from Oxford in England.
Oxford
in England. Always so yummy. Yes.
I don't think I've ever been to Oxford. I've been to Cambridge. I've been to London, but I don't think I've ever been to Oxford.
I invite you. It's beautiful.
Sometime.
All right.
I'd like that idea.
That would be fun.
What can we do for you, my dear?
I love this topic. It feels like taking a breath is everything. Yeah.
It's funny. Every time you say taking a breath, I take a breath.
It's like a reminder.
Oh, yeah, I'll do that.
Course that we've offered, I know that you've taken with us over the number of years, is the Freedom to Breathe. And it's a very easy breathing technique, and you get to, over the day, have a partner and experience the technique and also be there for your partner while they experience the technique. And I've always loved how simply the sound of someone breathing can remind a person who's forgotten to breathe to take that breath, kind of like this.
Right.
Just a little. And it's like, oh, yes, I'm holding my breath. I'm constricted. I forgot. It's so easy.
And we hold our breath when things go askew.
Or we're afraid, or we're tight.
Right. When things show up that we're not ready for. And a breath allows you to get clarity on what is appropriate in the current moment. Breathing really helps.
I love that.
It's the first thing you do when you're born is take a breath.
That's how they know you're living.
That's right.
I've noticed, I've been just putting my attention on taking a breath, and I've noticed that I have a type of taking a breath that is, let me figure this out and take a minute and take a breath and put things together and then respond, which is so different from just what you're talking about, which is just taking a breath.
Well,
not to get somewhere, you see. Taking a breath is not to get somewhere, it's to get here. Taking a breath pulls you into the current moment of your life.
And it's not even, I know he said it as close as most of us can hear it. It's not even to get here. It's that when you take that breath, you're more prone to experience
your
being
life
here.
Yes.
That breath I took into the microphone, which I did so you could hear it, that has tension. Because in order to have the sound, you're actually tightening your throat. And if you relax your mouth and you relax your neck and you take a breath, it sounds awfully quiet. There's nothing there. It's just a inhalation, exhalation. It's quite exquisite.
It is amazing. There's no sound when you're breathing without tension.
I love that too, because my other type of breath definitely has a sound. It's a kind of
well,
that's a different sound.
Yeah.
See, it's a blowing out to try to get rid of something, whether it be tension or fear or upset or anger. I don't know what, but it's frustration. When people are trying to get rid of that, there's
a production quality to that one where you're trying to expel, get rid of, get done, like you say.
And what if you don't have to? We've been doing this stuff for years. This thing called breathing. Doing is putting a lot of attention on studies that have been done about getting rid of stress through catharsis, where you beat on something and yell and scream and blame your mama or your papa for why you are the way you are. And that doesn't work.
It just makes you more prone to tension and anger.
And more prone to express your anger out into the world as though that's going to do some good, but it never seems to complete it. What's interesting is if you can divert yourself from that, we often see it as though you open a door and step into a room of upset. You can just as easily back out of that rather than stay there. And most people think they have to do something to get over upset. Actually, all you have to do is back out of it.
I like it.
I can't tell you how to do it. I know it can be done because I do it.
But additionally, I really see that there are lots of tools to support you when it's challenging, to be relaxed, to take a breath. I imagine there are people listening to this podcast today as part of their support structure. A lot of you do this with consistency. And I think consistency is such an amazing thing.
Well, consistency depends on what your consistency's in.
Yeah,
You can be
true.
consistently upset. You can be consistently watching the news and getting other things to be upset about, or you can be consistently living your life as though this moment of your life is where your life is taking place. We call that transformation. Where you're here in your experience of living rather than thinking about what will be more different or better when you get somewhere else other than the moment. The only other place is not here.
Yeah. I find this podcast, listening regularly, amazing, amazing support.
Thank you for using us to support your well-being. It's so easy to get lost in the drama of life. Life does not show up the way you'd prefer, ever.
No.
Taking a breath really helps.
Last night, Shai and I went out to dinner, and there was a young lady who was a server. It's the second time we had her. It's a local restaurant that serves sushi or Japanese food and also Thai food. So the one side of the menu has one thing, and this young gal's name was Elena, and we're like, "Hello, Elena," and she was trying to remember our names. And she was genuinely curious about who we are and what we do. And we gave her one of our podcast cards. Last week, I wrote down our name for her because I don't know exactly her origins, but certainly English is not her first language. So she was working on the pronunciation, and now it was on remembering. And I used just this connection as a device to ask her if she likes podcasts, to give her the card. She said she would listen. So, Elena, if you happen to be listening, shout out to you. I love sharing this also with people, not only who need a support structure, but who have a curiosity about what's possible.
Well, you see, you only know what's possible from what you already know. Anything that's outside of what you know does not exist. So what you know, you know, and what you don't know are the parameters of your experience. Now, there's possibilities outside what you know and what you don't know that can create a new reality to live in, one where the moment and your experience are what your life's about, rather than a complaint that life isn't fulfilling your desires.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that?
Love it.
Love it.
Love it.
Me too.
Yeah. And you talking about, Ariel, about curiosity as well reminds me of how I came to know about you guys. I was on a plane with somebody, and they invited me to one of your Monday night in New York seminars. And what they said was, it's a group of people who are interested in what's possible in terms of excellence in their life, or ease and excellence in all aspects of their life. And I always remember it was my kind of curiosity, like, what do you mean? that took me there and took me to you. And gosh, I'm so grateful.
Yeah, well, you see, congratulations on the courage that it takes to look outside what you already know or experience life to be, to see if there's something that could have it be exquisite rather than bearable.
I'll tell you the
See,
big challenge.
most people's lives are just getting through the day.
But also, I think the biggest challenge in coming to a seminar or even being a guest is people have the mistaken idea they're going to find out something bad about themselves.
Well, the other thing is this: you have to admit there's something you don't know.
Right.
You have to admit there are things I do not know, the knowing of which might transform the quality of my life.
Yeah.
It's that simple. And if you're willing to look, see, like what Ariel said is so perfect. See, most people think that if they look, they're going to find out all kinds of bad stuff. But what they usually end up finding out is how magnificent they are.
Well, the other thing is, for me, from time to time, there's a slight embarrassment factor in that. Well, it didn't occur to me to ask somebody, or the solution that is so simple didn't occur to me. And hearing it, you have to be willing to go, oh.
Well, how could it occur to you if you don't know it exists?
Yeah.
You know, our minds are like computers, and the computer is loaded with information that the applications manipulate to come out with their conclusions. That was pretty good. And same thing with us. So if it isn't in us, the knowledge, well, then it doesn't exist.
Right. You cannot access it if you don't have it.
Right.
And there's no shame in not knowing something.
And, you know, we grow up amongst people who have lived their lives in a certain system of functioning in life. They call that a culture. So the culture you grow up in predetermines what you can know, because all of the known universe exists within that culture. Well, then there's the unknown universe that exists outside that culture that maybe, if you're lucky, you stumble upon. See, Ariel and I, we made ourselves accident prone. You know, we lived in a meditation center. We read books on well-being and on transformation and on being enlightened.
And we took courses from spoon bending to eating to walking on fire. We did
everything we could do to find make ourselves accident prone, to discover how to access and live in the current moment. And it happened for us. And we started discovering things we'd never known before, not out of being taught them by somebody else, but our experience of living showed us opportunities that we hadn't seen before. You know, you can only see what you know to look for.
Yeah. I've definitely had that thought that there could be something bad to see, but it has not been my experience.
Well, Tanya, thank you for having the courage to listen to somebody you met on an airplane once.
Yeah. Well, even to be available for someone to have a conversation with you is pretty amazing. We're happy you're in our lives.
We are.
We'll take you up on that at some point.
Come visit.
So
I would love that. So nice to talk to you. Thank you.
Thanks for being with us today.
I hold you as a dear friend.
Oh,
that's for we. But I say it for myself, but I speak for Ariel as well.
I feel that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, here we go. It's time for our listener feedback spotlight, where we hear from one of our listeners about how transformation has impacted her life or his life.
If you want to learn more about our seminars, any of the upcoming virtual courses, visit transformationmadeeasy.com.
That is transformation made easy, easy.com.
I love it.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Susan, and I'm calling in from Brooklyn, New York. And I just wanted to share how much Ariel and Shya's instantaneous transformation seminars, podcast, I get their weekly emails, their blogs, everything they do has made such a difference for me in my life. My life is great, and it gets even better and better. And yeah, it's wonderful. Thank you.
Do you want to have well-being with consistency? Connect with people all over the world from the comfort of your own home at Ariel and Shya's lively interactive Living Made Easy virtual seminars. Join any of their 2-hour online events or take a deep dive into the magic of being you at a virtual weekend seminar. Come on, let's connect. Find out more and register at transformationmadeeasy.com.
We have Living Made Easy seminars, and you are invited. Our next one happens today, if you happen to be listening to this live. It's at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time and 21:30 or 7:30 p.m. Central European Time. We have them on Mondays, Saturdays. Things are coming up. You are welcome. Just go to the website, transformationmadeeasy.com, and you can register. We have a couple of really great seminars coming up
Weekend
on
seminars.
weekends. The first one is virtual transformation in the workplace, and I'm really thrilled we're doing that one. It gets me back into the potential of seeing something and doing it with immediacy. I really, really am enjoying that as a parameter for me to look at my life through. It is April 5th and 6th, so it's via Zoom. Then we're heading off to Europe. We're doing the Freedom to Breathe course on Thursday, May 22nd, and the Superpower of Being You, Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday, the 23rd, 24th, and 25th. And that takes place in Hamburg, Germany.
That's an in-person or a couple of in-person seminars.
Costa Rica 2026 is filling. The early registration discount deadline is May 1st. So if you would like to be with us, the prerequisite is attending a weekend seminar this year. So you can find out more about any and all of our seminars and sign up for our newsletter at transformationmadeeasy.com.
Yep, that's it.
All right, our next guest.
Yes. Elka.
Welcome to being here, Elka. Tell people where you're zooming in from.
Hi, Ariel and Shya. I'm zooming in from Hamburg.
Nice.
What you just mentioned.
In Germany, not in Pennsylvania.
See, we're going to visit Elka in May.
Yes, you will. I will be there. Yeah. The topic today was also very relaxing for me. It feels like even talking to you is like taking a breath and feeling close to you, feeling good.
But you know something, you're a doctor and you may be retired, but you were a doctor for many years. And, people, when they come to see the doctor, they hold their breath in fear of getting bad news.
Yes, right.
Or fear of pain or the injection or
whatever.
Yes.
You hold your breath when you're afraid of fear of, something going wrong or something being wrong. And the greatest gift you have is to allow a person to take a breath and relax. Like, this will not hurt.
Yes, that's true.
Okay, this will not hurt. Whatever we do,
but even as you mentioned, my being a doctor at that time, I didn't very often take a breath. I was breathing, but I hurried through my practice, and even if I think I gave more time to my patients as others do, and I listened as far as I listened at that time, but I felt often in a hurry. And now, and even after being retired, I started my new business, like being a sex coach, and I started with new trainings. And even then, even if I had much more time, I didn't take a breath very often in the sense we are talking about it. But what I wanted to say, since Costa Rica, something, and even in Costa Rica, I could see how good it is just to be there, just to having to listen to you once in a while, but then sitting in the pool, having the nice dinner, and it was so good, and I still can feel it, and I think, yeah, I transformed. And even if I'm doing now what I already told you, my book writing, I can stop, not stopping like I have to have a break now, but stopping and then having a tea, taking a breath, and then continue.
So good, so good.
You know,
Yeah.
there was so many gems buried in what you just said. I want to back up for a little bit in case the listeners missed some of it.
Yeah.
Because you were talking about when you were a busy physician, how you were rarely taking a breath and you were rushing.
Yes.
In your experience.
Yeah.
And that I'm certain at that time you thought, well, if I didn't have as many patients when I retire, we have in our minds this set of parameters. When this happens, then that will happen. So in this case, when it's a Boolean field, this equals that. When I have more time, then I will be relaxed. Then you retired. And even though you started a new business and you're currently writing a book, your approach to life was the same. So you could create tension in a day that had nothing in particular in it, because that's how we approach life. Who we are, how we are, transfers. So I love that you gave yourself the instantaneous transformation Costa Rica adventure this past year.
I love it too. I love it because you see, you've been with us to Costa Rica in the past.
It's been a while, though.
Yes. And this time it was totally new.
Yes, it was.
It was. And what was totally new about it, Elke, was you were there. And you had less to protect.
You said something on your first day when people were introducing each other themselves, because not everybody had met. We hadn't actually met in person, some of the people who came, just we'd met them virtually. And you said you had told your husband and your daughters that you didn't need this anymore. And then so it was kind of like a leap to come. And I love that you came, not quote, needing it, that you came out of a desire for what's possible. I'm so happy for you.
Really?
It's
really,
like,
really.
Wow.
It's like, if you think there's something wrong with you, so you need to get better, well, then you put a pressure on yourself to get something, but you'll only get what you already know. When you're there just to discover what's possible, you have no idea what's possible, and you discover something newly. It can have a profound impact on the quality of your life, on how you feel about taking a breath.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you say it so perfectly. And this time, other than in other years, I registered already. I talked with Dieter, and it was clear that he wouldn't say no to my wishes. But normally I waited, and now I felt it that it's such a gift I can give myself, and I can
Well, I love
give to others.
this. I'll tell you why. Because there's a lot of things in your life that you see you want, and then you withhold that from yourself. Should I? Shouldn't I? Should I? Shouldn't I? And you torture yourself over a long period of time. Even if you end up giving it to yourself, you've tortured yourself.
Yeah.
You looked, you saw what you wanted, and it was so obvious.
Yeah, I saw your registration come in for 2026, and it was like, wow, that was immediate. You did
it. Right.
Yeah. Bring immediacy to your life, Elka. That's a gift to everyone in your life, not just you.
Well, I'm telling you something else. I'm really excited about something as I'm speaking with you today. Many things, but you're talking about you're writing a book, and you are an expert in the field that you're writing it in. And before Costa Rica, you had a interest in writing a really good book and really taking care of the people who eventually will read it. But at that time, my experience of you was you were not particularly taking care of you in the writing process.
Yes.
You're saying, oh, I don't get up because it's time for break, but I can go have a cup of tea and come back. Like that you trust that your knowledge is there and taking care of yourself as you're writing it. The essence of that,
the well-being you bring to your writing, shows up in the reader's experience when they read.
Because they're tuning into Elka and going, wow, I can have this too.
Right.
I agree. Yes, that's why I wanted to write it. That's why I agreed to write it, and because I would like to let participate people in this feeling, and even in the feeling that sexuality can be such a wonderful pleasure still at my age.
We're all for pleasure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you for being with us today.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're
welcome.
Thank you for the difference you make in the world. You're just being you makes such a profound difference, Elka.
Thank you.
Yes, that's my experience.
And the degree of trusting yourself now allows people around you also to relax.
And to trust themselves.
Mm-hmm. I don't think you've seen the exponential shift you've had in that just yet. But it's obvious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I can feel it. At least I can feel it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
I hope those of you who are listening who have a desire, come meet Elka in Hamburg. The people who are on this podcast who call in as guests are amazing people. And you can call in and be a guest as well. We can set that up. Or you can come to some of the events and meet people. It's like meeting these superstars. If you're not already subscribed to our newsletter, I recommend that also, because it certainly has blogs and videos, not only of the two of us or by the two of us, other amazing people. And you can find all of the links again at transformationmadeeasy.com. Next week's episode.
What if work could be your happy place?
I love that. We'll be back next week.
So come on back and don't miss being here.
Yeah, being